Welcome, everybody. This is the August online session of the Water School Africa. I'm Minnie Jain, a director with the Flow Partnership UK, and we run these water schools globally, but especially our great love is for Africa and the multiple different methods of water holding that communities across Africa are doing. So this online session is usually, we hope, to have a presentation from a community or a farmer or an organization that is doing water holding in their region, holding the rainwater and transforming the region with the water that they have held. So when the water comes back, so many things can happen. Your livestock has water, you can grow food, there is food security, people can stay and have a good life in their local region. We've seen this happening across the world. So today I am really delighted to have Jackson Kanunu from Dream Farm, Uganda, presenting. This is our first presentation from Uganda. And the name says it all. It's a dream farm. The farm was a dream, and yet how it's become a dream farm. So we'll hear a lot more from Jackson and the story, and who were the inspiring mentors behind it, and how the community came together to make the dream a reality. Before I go further, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Dalind and my colleagues Dalind and Daniel. If they've been working closely with Jackson in bringing together the work that they've been doing, so we can have this presentation today. And then we'll hear from Jackson. The format is that after we hear from Jackson, the floor will be open. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have reflections, if you have thoughts, we'll have about 40 minutes of presentation from Jackson, and then the discussion space of 40 minutes, roughly about 40 minutes or so after that. You can always put your questions in the chat as they occur to you during the presentation, but we can look at all of them after Jackson finishes presenting. Okay, so enjoy the session, and we look forward to a really vibrant discussion after that. Over to you, Dalind.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Minnie. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, where we are going to Uganda, yes, to see a very special presentation from our guy, Jackson Kanunu, who is taking us through a very interesting story. Yes, they were displaced by a war in 1986, him and his mother, but they fought on. And after then moving into a resettlement scheme, Jackson and his mother managed to buy some land. After buying that land, they made a very important, impactful donation to the community. This is the 6 acres that they donated to the community and called these 6 acres the Dream Farm. On this Dream Farm, Jackson today is going to tell us how they have managed to transform their community, how they have managed to harvest water and make water readily available for everyone, for our cattle, for our domestic animals, for the community, and for everyone else to come in and make it a community thing. Today, I'm joined by Daniel from our Mazriwa community in Zishawane in Zimbabwe. He's going to be jointly helping me to facilitate and make sure we open up to whatever we want to ask Jackson. So I would want to ask everyone to settle. Let us listen to this very impactful story from the district of Kanunu in Uganda, while our brother Jackson spells out how you can actually change a community. You can actually change where you come from. Jackson, I would want to leave this time to you. Over to you, Jackson.
Thank you, Chikukwa. Thank you, Min. Thank you, Africa School, Water School. Thank you, Flow Partnership, and all other partners in the world who have given us an opportunity and who have selected us to share ideas on water in the Cattle Corridor. Jackson is the Executive Director of Dream Farm Kyakabunga Group. It's an NGO in Uganda. we have titled our discussion, our presentation, as Scaling Water Harvesting Technologies to Enhance Resilience to Climate Change. We can go to another slide. So this includes another slide is about the introduction of Dream Farm Chakabunga Group. Dream Farm Chakabunga Group is an NGO. It's an indigenous NGO focusing on poverty alleviation among vulnerable rural farmers in Uganda. Its objective is sustainable agriculture, agro-enterprise development, food security, and regular income. It started as a community-based organization in 2013, registered as an NGO in 2016, and its outreach programs, we work with school communities, small-scale crop livestock farmers, people with disabilities, to build capacity through hands-on training, demonstrations, and now we are happy to partner with the school, with Water School Africa, for water management and harvesting. You can go to another slide. Another slide concerns the historical background of Dream Farm. It is from our mother phase. We are from Kirhura district. Kirhura district is in the cattle corridor in southwestern Uganda. As Chikuko has said, after the war, in 1986, we were settled in a resettlement scheme. As the last born, my mother was aged, and we didn't have the capacity. My mother could not raise fees for me to study, and she had the need for me to study Jackson. So she decided to negotiate with school administrators for her to dig gardens, to keep cows, so that during weekends we work together on gardens. I keep cows with her so that I can attain education. This moved on not only at one level of education, but through my education cycle. You can see her in the picture grazing cow for the school. And on the other hand, on the right hand, I'm holding a book. I'm impressed to inform this team that this book was entitled Beginning Agriculture. This is the book I was holding with slippers going to school. I would alternate working early in the morning with my mother in the garden, then leave later for classes. So Jackson was born on 14th February 1979. He studied in these schools, Kanyariel Primary School from 1986 to 1983, Rek Mburo Secondary School from 1993 to 1997, St. Marco Dembe Secondary School from 2004 to 2005, Makerere University from 2006 to 2013, with the efforts of Mother Faith, who was working tirelessly to make this a success. Then from small saving for the family, for this widow, in 2008, we managed to raise small funding from our own hands at the people's farms. Prior to that, she dreamt that she was fencing land. Then in this 2008, we bought 30 acres with her meager efforts. When she bought land, she said this land should be named after her dream. That's when we came to name it Dream Farm. Then later on, the community initiative in 2013, people in the cattle corridor wanted to form this community-based organization, and they couldn't have land where this can be allocated. Mother Face headed the team for the family to donate 6 acres of land for community development. Can we go ahead? The community development started on this land. Now, when we look back at the district where we are, Chirhura district, 50 years back, Chirhura was abundantly blessed with forests, blessed with lakes, like Lake Kachera, forests, and water was flowing in small swamps. The environment was very healthy, with farmland built well, but later due to increased human activities, the average annual rainfall in Chirhura district is 900 millimeters. There is no specific information available about the rainfall in 1975, but the annual pattern is bimodal rain with peaks between March, May, and August, November. According to the district marked hazard risk and vulnerability profile for Chirhura district, the population has steadily been growing over the years. So the population has grown and issues have come up to affect the environment. Can we go to another slide? So as the population grew, we see commercialization of charcoal through rampant cutting down of trees, including in watershed. Here in this region, youth, unemployed, unskilled, they all focus on environment as a source for their income. So the forests we have seen that were previously in the area, the water sources we have seen, the wetlands were affected, trees cut in big numbers. You can see someone burning charcoal. All the towns in the country are being fed for energy with charcoal. So trees were cut without limitation and without replacement, and charcoal lined up as a business for people who didn't have any other source of income, which resulted into deforestation, air pollution, soil degradation, water cycle disruption. Move on. Can we move on? Then another activity that also disrupted our natural setting was clearing for commercial farming, including watershed areas. Uganda currently is the table for food for East African countries. Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, South Sudan, and Tanzania. So most of the farmers came up to do plantation agriculture, and they cleared. You can see tractors. Tractors are clearing hills and hills. They are cutting trees without limitation to do plantation agriculture, in which this plantation agriculture, they expect a lot in exporting low food, processed, which decreased water sources in the lowland, in hills, in every area, that resulted into water pollution, air pollution, soil degradation, biodiversity loss, climate change. Without limitation, government or any other NGOs could not control people who say, I own land and I need to earn a living at the expense of the environment. Go ahead. Cattle ranches, our area being a cattle corridor, you can see the picture here, someone grazing cows. Also, ranching is one of the income generating activity in Uganda, people were given chunks of land, acres and acres. Then they cleared bush, then they cleared forests, and cattle were overstocked. Then water sources in those areas, like small depression and small swamps, could no longer hold water. Others concentrated on nomadism, moving from far areas to water sources like lake or rivers, hence destroying the natural water systems. This resulted into deforestation and habitat loss, greenhouse gas emissions, water and soil pollution, land degradation, and overgrazing. We no longer have water systems. We have bare hills because all hills were cleared for cattle rearing. Can we move on? Yes. Now, when we formed a community-based organization at a Dream Farm, being donated by our hero, Faith, we started as a CBO, we started the initiative how we can bring back the lost glory, water in the community, small scale farming, through schools, women groups, people with disabilities, especially caretakers for children with disabilities, and women groups, vulnerable people. What are we doing in this case? We train people to design gardens with swales, planting vegetables. Our area being a cattle corridor, we have a deficiency for vegetables in our meals. So we train these groups, we train them how to dig contours, we train them how to plant crop animal fodder, we train them how to do soap production, beekeeping, skilling use, and value addition. All these can go well when we have water. Through this, we have seen increased production, networking, awareness among communities, and knowledge sharing, which we see as a way to go for our communities, as well as we harvest and store water in soil and at our households. Can we go ahead? One of the methods we saw that is useful in the cattle corridor is to harvest water using these tanks. These tanks are made of wire mesh, are made of cement and bricks. Every ironed house with the capacity, with the support, with the network of working together as a group, can have a tank that can have water for household use, for agriculture, and for irrigation to our chicken gardens designed along the houses, so that can have water and benefit the households. This is from roof rainwater harvesting tanks, or from sand, dams, or surface around the homesteads. Can we go on? This is one of the harvesting water systems. So within the valley, we construct a dam, we dig it, either by combined community members, through groups, or by the help of the tractor. We dig these dams, and they serve well the whole surrounding community. They do cleaning together, and they do fencing together. Unfortunately, here you can see cows coming in, and there are effects. Water is contaminated, cows crowd there, and livestock diseases like anthrax, foot and mouth increase, which reduce productivity and production of meat. Uncontrolled grazing also come up. So here we are involved to sensitize communities, train beneficiaries, train community members how we can eliminate these grazing methods that are no longer productive and will reduce water as cows move long distance and continue to compact the environment, cause areas for erosion. Can we move on? Then another measure for water harvesting is the underground tanks. The underground tanks we have here are in the form of, we use a tap rain, we dig a depression, we get bricks, and then we build using a dam liner. We fence it so that children or animals cannot fall in. This water can be used for agriculture, can be used to water nursery beds, can be used to give to livestock like pigs, like chicken, but they are well fenced and it keeps water. This tap rain will keep water for a long time depending on its size. We saw this one as a measure that can as well correct runoff and use it throughout the year. We continue. Yes, we can see this picture shows the natural rock. The natural rock has an opening. This woman was getting water from here. This is another natural way of harvesting water in African setting. The natural rock can be as well used in other areas, like drying grains. It's a good environment, and water here is so nice. So we feel harvesting water here can be done. We can fence this rock so that when water comes, it can settle and it doesn't sink. So it can be used when other sources are dry. We open up and use this water. Can we go to another slide? On the right hand, in Kirhura district, we have only one water supply system, government supported water supply system. It has a big tank. This collects water from Kachela Lake and takes it to this big tank that stores over 5 million and pumps over 1.5 million per day to the community. This water runs the whole district, and it's not enough. It is completely insufficient. Homes with taps get once in a week because it is overwhelmed. So water supply from Kachera is not enough for us. But we can see on the right hand the provision here of underground water tank made with bricks. It collects water from another house. It's a big one, and water is stored. You can see a tank, there is a generator. This generator is fixed here to push water from the underground tank and is taken for other purposes in the community, either irrigating, household use, and for animal consumption. That is another method we are using. Another slide. Partnering community members, information of a nursery and sharing water harvesting techniques. Dream Farm, using this, having constructed Dream Farm has, in its 6 acres, was able to excavate a community dam and takes this water by gravity with a solar system from the dam to the tanks. We have 3 uphill tanks. Then water is taken long way to 2 kilometers to a training center, a secondary school, to cooperative diaries. And we have seen this one as a testimony in the community. We have put up a nursery beds, and a committee, water user committee, was set up to monitor taps, to get charges from end users, and an account was opened at the cooperative to save some small earning from water community members, so that this small fund can be available for emergency to the water system and the tanks. We train community members, school children, farmer groups about nursery bed setting, hands-on training, how they can make seedlings, how they can do the grafting, and how they can plant. We plant in the schools. Our education system in Uganda put up a recommendation for schools to start gardening. This is one of the area we are working on. We're working with schools so that children can be ambassadors to their communities and become established to transform the message we do with schools to their homes. Can we go on? Then another slide shows water scarcity in the area affecting young learners in the community. Currently, we are having water crisis. We are in a dry season that has taken place for more than a year. Most water sources have dried. You can see the truck. The truck is taking water from the first source, either from Lake Kachera to a long distance. Then we see children with jerrycans moving also long distance. We see the extreme end of on the right hand, there is a source of water that is drying up. Then there is a truck powering so that people can have water. So our situation here comes that water, unless we put up serious measures with combined effort, either at household level or at community level, through an effort like this one we are sharing, we see women and children trek long distance to fetch water, late coming and absenteeism for school learners. Then contaminated water causes waterborne diseases. This one also has caused domestic violence among families. When you take long, like women in our communities, men quarrel, they say they move in groups, they do other missions, which is not the case, but water crisis will do that. Next slide. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Water School Africa Implementation Team, for the opportunity to share our work. We thank our friend Josephine Kiza, who has been a model in our work. We thank everybody who has participated in today's water work. I'm happy to conclude my presentation here and now. Welcome any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackson. How inspiring, and absolutely, it just brings home to us what a dream, what the determination of a strong woman. And in your case, there are two strong women who've enabled this work to become from something very small, and how education, sharing with the community, integrity of purpose, and really go from nothing to this magnificent spread of a dream farm. So I'm sure there are a lot of questions in the audience. The journey is very, very It's been given in a summary, but there are many, many turns and nuances in the journey, which I'm sure people would like to know about. There are some questions in the chat. So we'll take the questions, but if anybody would like to ask verbally, please put up your hand and you can unmute yourself and ask the question. And we'll also take, if you want to put it in the chat, we'll take questions from there. So who would like to go first?
Josephine.
Yes, Josephine, please come in.
Okay, I just wanted to congratulate Kanunu for the milestone we've shared. And I want to assure everybody struggling with the water technology to visit Dream Farm, because I've been there. The people in the community take Jackson as their small king there, because he has provided them with the knowledge, with the water. Every morning you find them lining up to come to the dam to get the water, but also they are copying from his intervention. They are also putting up something smaller than that, but at least I can see that his effort to help the community is not wasted, as many are now copying and trying to put into practice what he's doing. Congratulations to you. And I know the mother is still living, very old, but she is always very proud with the work his son is doing and with the provision he's giving to the community. Thank you very much, Jackson, and please continue. Thank you.
Madam. Welcome, Josephine.
So I can quickly jump in over here and thank you, Josephine. We were in the meeting with you, and what you've done, enable the flowering of this to happen. And it's always when a community comes together or somebody sees what is possible and puts their might behind it, these kind of community success stories appear. And it's a combined effort, but you always need somebody at the start who can see far into the future. So, and those who bring the water back to their communities, their lives, the planet, I'll use the words that he says, are the kings and the queens, no? So you don't need a crowd. You just need to bring the water back and bring the prosperity to your community. So thank you as well, Josephine, and Jackson and your mama Faith. So there's a question in the chat which I can ask. Somebody said about the underground tank, Jackson. What are the dimensions for a standard underground tank in your experience?
Yes, underground tanks. We normally do 50 feet by 50 by 100. A big one that can be laid with a dam liner.
50 by? Could you repeat the dimensions again, please, Jackson?
50 by 100. 50
by 100. Seydu, there's your answer to that. They have another question. They would like to know the total quantity of rainfall water per year that you have in your area. How much rain falls?
Okay. Rainfall 900 millimeters. 900 millimeters.
Seydu, does that answer your question? Do you have any other follow-up question with that?
That's fine, Minnie. Maybe I can also come in here and say, congratulations, Jackson. You are doing fantastic work in your district there. No wonder Josephine says they call you a little king there in your homeland. But anyway, thank you so much. We can see how you are doing and transforming your own community. Charity has got your hand up. let me maybe leave this time to Charity to ask a question. Charity, you can go ahead.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
Okay. I just wanted to say I'm glad that the youth, the school children are also participating, because I think that is really where it starts from. And congratulations really are in order for your team, Jackson. Continue, and I'm happy you are catching them young also. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Jackson, I had a question when I saw
Wonderful.
the slide, the last slide that the second but last, where you had the tanker and you had the children and you had the water source over there. How does do you dig any channels for the water to collect in that water basin? Or how does or is it just the rainwater that falls into it and fills it up? How do you encourage the water to collect over there?
Right. In our setting, in our geographical setting, normally there are two hills opposite each other. So in the adjacent, in the middle of the hills, it's a depression, it's a valley. So in that valley, you dig basing on the gradient of the hill, where water may come from and where it may go. Then you dig from where it starts, and then you make a bank in the middle, so that when water comes from the top of the hill, will fall in this depression in the valley, and it goes back as it settles. That's how water collects and is stored in the valleys. When the bank is raised, others can even fill bags with soil and harden the lower part, so that water can collect and go back as it settles.
Mm. And
Have
who
you-
does that land belong to? Where you
Yes.
you dig the hills on the
This is negotiated between local authorities, either with religious leaders, then local government, after accessing the need in the community. In our case, it was our family that realized we had an opportunity of land with this open space, and then that's when we donated, so that we can have water for the community within our area of work, for easy monitoring, for community accessibility and management.
Thank you. Thank you. Eustace, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, thank you, Minnie. I also like to thank Jackson, my friend Jackson.
Thank you,
Jackson, thank you very much for the compelling work. I'm always inspired whenever we meet. I have two questions. The first question, I think, is a general question for you and all Ugandans. We've always used the fuel wood as a source of energy. But now that the forests are almost becoming extinct, what plans do you have for the people, for you and the other Ugandans, for a source of cooking, fuel for cooking, especially for the towns and the cities? Then the second question, I'd also like to understand the nexus between the ranches and the people. The nexus, where the ranches meets the people. How do the ranches affect people, and how do the people affect the ranches?
Good
I
question.
would like to give an example of urban areas where I work here in the central Uganda. We are working in the rapidly urbanizing districts. But you find that there's a migration to the cities, to the towns, and the food coming to the towns, money for food going to the villages. How is this nexus between the ranches and the people? What issues do you have around the interaction between ranches and the people? Are there any problems that are arising out of that, out of the ranches? Because I know in the 60s, large chunks of land were given out to the lucky people to run ranches. But how has it affected people over time, and how is it affecting your dream? Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Eustace.
Eustace. Maybe
Go
in
ahead,
the first
Jackson.
case, with fuel, the simple idea we can use is the energy saving stoves. If we can all, especially in the rural areas, adopt energy saving stoves instead of taking 10 firewood, if we can train communities to have energy saving stoves that can consume 1 firewood and cook 5 saucepans, that would reduce on firewood consumption. We train people how to make energy saving stoves. We plant more trees so that 1 firewood can cook the whole day. Once that stove is heat, it can cook food for the whole day. Then on the other issue of ranches, from 60s, government gave out ranches, big chunks of land. One person could own about 10 hectares. And as population grew, people are constrained, and a few have big chunks of land, which is inconveniencing. But if these ranches are restructured and people are given pieces of land in the rural area, then these people will be trained how to utilize their land, how to do agriculture on small scale. Instead of one person owning 100 acres, if 100 acres are owned by 100 people, an acre per individual, that would involve more people in the production, more than moving idle, becoming jobless, and having nowhere to stay, running from rural areas to urban centers and filling up the slums, or becoming idle in the community and stealing people's areas. Then this also will increase on the revenues and production. If more people are engaged in production, they will engage in annual income generating activities, and they will earn. More people will have stable income from the land being idle without being productive, while other people are just looking and are constrained in the slums. Thank you.
I guess I have a thank you, Jackson, for that. Eustace, does that answer your question, or do you have any follow-up related to that?
Yeah, somehow, yes, but I think the rate at which the forests are disappearing, yeah, we may need to adopt other ways of ensuring that the people can be able to cook their food, can have food.
So I guess my follow-up question was what Eustace is talking about in terms of using the forests or fuel wood and disappearance of trees also impacts the water table. The more trees there, trees also hold water and enable the water cycle to happen. So maybe Jackson, you could say something about the planting of trees in your area. What kind of trees you planted? Is there a focus on it? Are there plantations, etc.? And then we'll come to you, Lukwago, Nicholas, after that.
Yes, planting of trees, especially here at with our small arrangement of the NGO, we are encouraging multi-purpose trees for the farmers we work with, like mangoes, oranges, avocados, agroforestry, so that any farmer can increase tree production and integrate trees in their gardens, in boundaries, then with schools, administrative areas like district and others, so that we can plant more trees to conserve the environment. And then government of recent added another component, which is being taken up by organizations and private agencies, planting coffee, which is demanded for export, for income, and good for environment. So those are measures we are implementing to encourage community members, beneficiaries, schools to plant more trees that are multi-purpose for environment conservation.
So do you have a sense of when you started right at the beginning, with the photograph you showed us, and then bought the land, got the first 30 acres, do you have a sort of even a ballpark figure of how many trees have been planted from that time to now? Hundreds, tens of, in that whole area, what is the increase in the tree population in the area?
Yes, we have multiplied over 5 million in the communities with the support from government with seedlings, so that we can provide to cooperatives, provide to households, because of being in the dry corridor.
Mm-hmm.
We work hand in hand with the district to distribute seedlings for communities, for schools. That's how far we have moved with trees.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll leave this here for the moment. Lukwago, Nicholas, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, Jackson. Thank you for the good work. Yeah, you have made me recall that permaculture design course which we had at St. Jude Masaka in 2014, and that was where your objective and your work plan, see that you can help the communities of your district in accessing water for their livestock and restoring the environment. And mine is also a follow-up question on one of our colleagues who asked about the dimensions, and I was keen on knowing the depth of the dams. That standard dam, you only talked of the width and the length and the depth. The reason as to why I had to come up with that follow-up question is we are also trying to implement some initiatives in terms of community access to water for irrigation and production. And one of the issues we are having in central Uganda, and specifically with us at AFAD Uganda, is about the safeguarding. If the dams are too deep and issues of communities, you don't know what might happen anytime from now, especially with community access. You cannot regulate the kids, and then other people who might be having some other issues from accessing the dam. So my question is, there are some safety mechanisms to see that the dams are safeguarded, especially with kids? Maybe they are bringing some cattle to maybe get some water for them. Are there some way, somehow you are trying to safeguard them in that regard? Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you, Mike, for that supplement. In our simple role model, we first this with, we fenced the dam with barbed wires and euphobia. And we put a writing, a warning that no children are allowed inside. One of our staff stays in the house where solar panels are at the dam. It has an entrance that is locked every morning. People access water from the tap that is above the dam. And we, for this underground water tank, since it's with a tap rain, we may not dig. In our situation, we did not dig a deep one. It is almost 15 meters, well fenced, and someone at the dam so that no children can access it or animals. That's the measure we have put up, and we have not gotten any threat since we started it.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Jackson, following up on your discussion when you were saying something about in your slides, I think it was on slide number 15, 14 thereabout, where you put an emphasis. I would like to quote what you said. You say, unless we put up a combined effort, we're going to live with these water problems within our communities. I would want to ask, how are you mobilizing the community to work together? Because this is the biggest problem within the communities that we're living in. That team spirit, the togetherness, the having one vision. How are you doing it to make people realize that we've got a problem, let's arrest this together? How are you doing it?
Maybe we can look back to the slide where there is. Thank you for that observation. We can look back to the slide where there are children and people designing the garden. Exactly.
Okay.
Move up a bit. Up, down. Next. Yeah, exactly. I think that is the slide. Water harvesting, interventions. I hope through discussion and designing gardens, digging swales, digging contours, building bands as a community. I think this is one way. And also doing the water harvesting measures of roof and underground tanks, working them together, a house to a house, an institution to an institution. I think this is one of the measures through organized groups, through organized community like this platform. If we can harvest crop, which we didn't harvest formerly, from these designed gardens that sink water, and we increase yield. If we can harvest water from the underground tank that a community built together, I think these are the measures. Then sharing the ideas with others, success stories, sharing them with schools, sharing them in the meetings, sharing them through community gatherings, then through church, and demonstrating to those areas, I think would be the way to expand the message. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackson. Maybe this is a good moment to come in and say that the Water School Africa is all about sharing those ideas with each other. It's a local community in different countries in Africa, but it's also with the water schools, it is a global community of communities, farmers, ground people sharing their success stories and learning from each other. So if you'd like to remain, we have a session every Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month. And it's held at this time. So if you would like to be notified of other sessions, and also if you might like to present, if you have a success story, or if you know of somebody who's holding water very successfully, do put your email and number in. There is also a WhatsApp group called the Movement of Water Harvesting. We can add you to that. And this is a vibrant discussion that's happening globally with ground level farmers, communities, individuals, organizations, as to how to increase the water retention on the planet, and where the success stories can be shared. So Water School Africa happens once a month online, but you can also watch the recordings on waterschools.org. So don't forget to put your emails and your numbers. We'll add you into the group if you would like. Right. So who else would like to come in? Any other questions that you have or reflections that you might have?
Maybe this could be the last one from me, Minnie.
Right. Yes. Sorry. 1 minute. Yes, Dylan. What are you saying? When there is Amos is about to ask a question.
I just wanted to say, Jackson, it hinges around, as you say, the community cohesion. I was wondering how the committees for the water management work. Would you want to tell us a little bit about how and who leads these water management committees?
Thank you. Our water user committee was selected as a volunteer group, seeing that we have a pilot project in the area. People volunteered. We don't pay anything. They volunteered, women and men. And what is their role? What do they do? They see how water community dam is managed. The cleanliness around the community, the dam, the fence, then we also, the house where solar system is, then sanitation, we have a latrine so that people cannot distort the environment. Then we monitor the whole system up to the tank. How is the tank base? How is the distribution? How are the lines? Then they also monitor tap to tap, the community taps. Then they give out the guidelines for the eventualities. If a tap is broken at Jackson's place, what percentage do I need to incur so that that tap is replaced? Then they sit, the community, this water user committee, sit every after 2 months, observing those areas. And then they see the sanitation also for the dam, then for the water, for the beneficiaries. And then they are responsible for collecting the small fee from areas that fetch water, like the school, a trading center, cooperative societies, and then they save that small fee on the account. Then they can also see either if there is no sunshine, we need a generator, we need fuel to pump water so that people can have water. It's the water user committee that moves on with that. And then we also add on to trainers on how they can treat water, how they can either open the overflows where water may flow when it is full during rainy season, and cleaning the environment. Those are simple ways, the simple ways we started with, because we didn't run it from elsewhere, but we started it so that it can help us run this water system at its starting point.
Thank you, Kanunu. Can I come in?
Yes, go ahead, Amos.
Thank you, the team. I'm happy and pleased to be part of this team. I have been briefly working with Kanun on the project, but given the success story that he has done in Chakabunga, and given the background of the area from which he works, which is a dry cattle corridor, and with increasing drought in the area, climate change, which is also impacting the area, increased human population and the livestock. Therefore, that means there is a lot of need for water harvesting. So my question is, how can we scale up this model of having water harvesting, not only using the valley dams, but also using the water harvesting using the houses, because most of the people in the area at least have got iron roofed houses. Is there any prospect from this organization, from this platform, where we can collectively maybe write a proposal, see that this model that Kanunu is piloting can be scaled at a larger area, because it seems to be only limited in Chakabunga, which is just a microclimate from the area that he represents. Can we have any chance either collectively that we write a bigger project and we benefit a bigger area than what is currently serving? I submit.
So that's a good point, no? That we always, when we work in one area, it's a microcosm. But if it is successful, it's a very big challenge and a question for the world, really. How do you upscale it, replicate it? How do you enable communities to, do entire catchments or entire regions so that successful methods can be replicated locally? And that's really our attempt. It should, there are two ways to do it. It's often you come together, you write, you identify the region that can be replicated, and you get the communities together and you get a big project. It should often be, we do a lot of work in India. So in India, we look at entire river revival. So if you have the communities in the villages living along a defunct river, they come together and they build the interventions in the landscape to hold the water. And from that comes all the different, livelihood generation opportunities and the prosperity. So something similar can happen. And we always say to people, first be successful in your local area, and then think of the wider catchment where your entire river or water source can, and what does it take to do that? It needs a lot of ground level work, and the success stories of of communities like Jackson are the driver for that. So then, of course, replication from the success is much easier. So yes, I'm always for bringing it into a replication in a larger area, and not just locally and globally, but it needs, finally, all this needs actual boots and work spades on the ground. We can imagine it, we can dream it, but as we saw, the dream has to be turned into reality, and it takes actual specifics to make that happen. So I don't know if that answers your question, Amos, but yes.
But probably what you have not answered is whether there could be any calls for water harvesting, and whether we can collectively, since we have got a platform, that we could put our heads together to make sure that we can write a proposal. And if we can win it, then probably would be able to make sure that this thing is scalable, that there could be chances out there where we could tap.
I'm sure there are possibilities. This is not the forum to really discuss that, but we could have conversations later. That's not, you know, that's always an open, there's an openness there. This is for learning really, but of course for expansion, there are always opportunities. So yes, Amos, there are always possibilities. Anyone else would like to reflect on that for Amos?
I think my brother Amos here
Yes.
has got a point. But Amos, I would also want to say, looking back at ourselves, we say, what can we do in our local communities? Let us look at this example here that we're sitting around on today. What Jackson has done for his community. Because what is needed, I think, in Africa, yes, we need partners to help us, but we also need to take that responsibility as a people and say, what we can do, let's also try to do as individuals, as communities, teach each other, like what we're doing now. There's so many things that we can do with, we need money for almost everything, but there's some things that we can do with just the thinking that we can do it together. And sharing and cross-pollinating these ideas can take us further on, I think, miles ahead, better than what we can do with money. We need money, but as communities, I think what Jackson has told us this afternoon is a lesson that, gentlemen and ladies, we can do it. Let us cross-pollinate these ideas, share, and come up with something. Let me rest there.
Thank you, Dylan. Any questions and further reflections, if anybody has, on the work that Jackson and his community are doing? So there's one observation here by Hailu, who says, how can we share share experiences, our project communities? So let me pick up that. If you know, one of the advantages or one of the most beautiful things that comes out of these sessions is that, you know, people hear and they think, oh, we're doing this, or, oh, I know somebody else who's doing phenomenal water retention work where similar to the presenter's work, or not even similar, could be completely a different method, but has enabled to manage the water in their region, whether it's a flood or a drought. And what are those methods, those simple landscape intervention methods that have changed the nature of the water retention in the area? So if you have, you know, you would like to talk about some of your success stories, do mail us. Dylan is going to put the email implementation wsa@gmail.com. You can mail us, contact us, and we will come back to you. You know, we can have a discussion with you and then program you in to talk about your work to other communities, you know, and talk about the success of your work. That's how this work also spreads on one level, that we inspire each other to do more. We learn from each other to do more. So while this is not a very formal forum, the beauty of this forum is that it allows anybody to come in whatever level of experience and success that they have, to share with others, to talk about what works. And sometimes what works in one area may not work in another, but sometimes what works in one area gives you a thought of what could work in your area. So this is meant to be a forum for that. So do write in. You're most welcome always to contact us and come back with thoughts, ideas, suggestions, people, connections, anything that you would like to discuss. The email is there. And it's also waterschools.org. You'll find the recordings, past recordings of various communities, people, organizations who presented their work. So if you want to go through that, not just from Africa, but also from India and various other places, this is a forum for us to help retain a lot of the water that is falling on our planet and bring our water cycles back to health. So I think with this, if there are no more questions, I would propose we give a huge thank you for Jackson's mum, who had that wonderful dream and followed through with it, and a wonderful son like Jackson, who has, from that little seed, shown us what is possible when you really have a determination and a dream and in your heart and your soul. Thank you very much, Jackson, for that most inspiring presentation. We are really grateful that you shared this work and give us that inspiration. If anybody else would want to add something at this point, otherwise, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the session next. It will be in September, and that'll be the first Tuesday of September, which is the 2nd of September. Yeah, and we will let you know who the presenters will be, and do keep a lookout for that. Hailu, your hand just came up for a minute. Do you want to add something?
Thank you so much. I'm excited with the flow of information, sharing experiences. I missed for a very long time, but my staff were participating in this, and I'm very happy. And then we would like also to see how our communities start water harvesting by their own, which is very sustainable and successful, that I wish to share our experiences in the future one time.
Yes,
thank you.
Please. Thank you. This is the whole point. These forums are free and always will be. This is a sharing. This is community wisdom that is shared freely with each other, and for it to be, for it to be useful to different communities. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'm not sure I've seen the email. I'm just putting it down. If anybody wants to contact us, do contact us at implementationwsa@gmail.com, and you can go to waterschools.org and find the recordings of past presentations of wonderful work that has been presented before, and this one will come up over there very soon. Until then, be well. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.